Hey, I'm back. Check this out. Today I'm gonna be doing a video about strict gun laws concerning so-called Negro, so-called African American, the indigenous Aboriginal of America. This video is just pertaining to gun laws and the difference between the races when it comes to laws in general in this so-called country. Okay, I might just be in and out with commentary, so you know, like usual. But yeah, but this video has a lot of educational views in it, and it's pretty good for people that are afraid to bear their arms and hold weapons to protect their families. At the end of the day, you know, most of the people that was lynched, if only they had the right to bear arms, they would be probably lived on. They wouldn't have been lynched at all. Just these laws are set for them to be able to take control of us and keep control of us through media sources, media outsources, and through their organizations, you know, the Congress, government itself in general. So yeah, let me get to this video, and here we go.
By definition, a slave is a person that is disarmed.
For too long, African Americans have been on the wrong side of the gun, from the racial motivation of slavery to the white supremacy movement to today's escalating black-on-black crime. The politically correct view that a disarmed black community is a safe community is only safe for those who seek control.
The black community went from being disarmed, being mistreated, being enslaved because of a lack of access to guns, ultimately went through a period of saying, aha, we have the right to bear arms, we're going to make sure it's respected, to a period where now the gun is the main tool of maintenance of the narco economy, which is the only economy in the African American community.
And the reason for that is because we don't even own that business. We don't own the narco business. The narco business is owned by our government, and it was all set out for to dysfunction of the black family, or the so-called black family, the Aboriginal family, and it's a tool to keep us separated from each other and continue on using a media outlet to broadcast us with black-on-black crime, and to be able to keep disarming us because of the narco business. You understand? So, yeah.
400 years of injustice. 400 years of being on the wrong side of the gun. It's time for change.
Why is the gangbanger who has the Saturday night special in his pocket given more rights than the average everyday citizen? Even though he was illegally armed, he has a right to defend himself, and you have not the ability to defend yourself.
So if the law says that I can't buy a certain gun, that if I can't carry a gun a certain way, I abide by that because I'm law-abiding. But the criminals are the ones that buy any type of guns that they want,
and that's why they're able to do what they do, because they're not following this system. They're sovereign in their mind. When you don't follow these laws, you consider sovereign. You understand? But when you're in the system, you're being controlled. You're being controlled to be able to protect yourself. You understand? You have a right naturally to protect yourself. It's an instinct to protect yourself. If someone threw an apple at your head, you're going to catch the apple or dodge it, or you ain't going to just let people throw apples at your head, correct? You know what I mean? So this, what they saying is the criminal is bearing arms because he don't have nobody to answer to. He's not following the laws. And as she said, I'm a law-abiding citizen. If they say, well, I shouldn't have this, I shouldn't do that, then I don't do it because I'm a law-abiding citizen. And you have a natural right to protect yourself. You did?
Are empowered.
The basic right of every American is the right to self-defense. Take away that right, and the individual is powerless.
It's not unusual for America in its long history to disarm or seek to disarm undesirable populations.
Gun control laws have kept African Americans in their place for hundreds of years.
When they say African American, you know, for all my people that know that that's not really our nationality, you know, just you know, block that out and just get a good understanding of what they're saying. When they say slave, they're actually meaning you, the Aboriginal, or they say African American, they're actually speaking of you, the Aboriginal American. You understand? These laws, these slave laws, is from you prospering, you becoming, you uprising. So when you uprise, they take things and justify them killing you, just like they do today, you know. But you know, y'all get it.
From the earliest days of slavery up until the mid-1800s, blatantly written gun control laws prohibited slaves and freed slaves from owning firearms.
Be it further enacted that if any Negro shall presume to carry arms whatsoever, he shall be whipped with 21 lashes.
With the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1866, African Americans were given the right to bear arms. But new laws were written in such a way to exclude blacks from purchasing guns.
Every time we come up, they take us right back down. No matter what we do, they bring us right back down. You understand? Those people fought in wars and they don't have a right to bear arms. They're going to strip them from being able to carry a firearm. It's okay for me to go shoot people for you, but then when I want to protect myself in your habitat, your pretend habitat, then you take the law, you make laws for me not to be able to bear arms. You understand? Some bullshit, man. This country is full of bullshit. You know what I mean?
The greatest service the authorities can render the city now is to disarm every Negro, search every Negro house, and arrest everyone who is...
This is what they're going to do again. They're going to start going in your house, taking your shit, and then making you do what the fuck they want you to do. You understand? They make these laws to be able to control you in some way. And we fall for this shit. We want to be a part of this shit because they got McDonald's and Burger King and all this fucking clothing stores and all this shit. You know? It's a bunch of bullshit. But yeah, I'm sorry for cutting in on all that, but I'm watching it just like y'all and I get fucking pissed off.
Expensive handguns were banned, or high taxes were imposed to keep guns out of the financial reach of a mostly poor black community.
There's been various statutes throughout every state that had sizable African American populations after slavery to restrict, through black codes, the ability for blacks to be armed.
In 1941, Florida Supreme Court Justice Buford declared the original 1893 Florida Gun Control Act was passed with the purpose of disarming Negro laborers. The statute was never intended to be applied to the white population. In the 1960s, when armed blacks took to the streets in the race riots in Los Angeles, Newark, and Chicago, the laws were once again rewritten. In a futile attempt to curb the violence, Congress passed the 1968 Gun Control Act. Public outcry for the restrictions of guns after the assassinations of Dr. Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy hid the true purpose of the legislation.
It was Robert Sherrill writing on the 1968 legislation who stated that it was really an attempt to restrict arms for black people.
Championed by Senator...
Y'all see that? I know y'all see that. See, this is what I'm saying. Every time we come up, they take something from us. You understand? Once we start rising up, they want to take everything from us. These laws, all these skit-scat laws and Black Lives Matter and all that shit is for us, for you to be programmed so they can be able to do this stuff through their laws. You understand? Yeah, it's right in our faces, man. Why do we keep falling for this shit, man? Come on now. We want to live in a system that's controlling, pretty much controlling you, and they call you minority when you the majority and all that shit, man. You know, all this shit's some bullshit, man.
Thomas Dodd and signed into law by President Johnson, the 68 Gun Control Act used shrewdly crafted language to give the authorities control to dictate who could and who could not own a firearm and what types of firearms Americans can own.
Thomas Dodd from Connecticut, a Connecticut Yankee, goes to the Library of Congress and gets the actual gun act that the Nazis had passed in 1938, and he has it translated into English.
The 68 Gun Control Act was written and in some cases almost copied word for word from the same laws the Nazis used in 1938 to control undesirable populations in Hitler's Germany. Both documents categorize and restrict firearms to certain individuals.
Now you see that. They use a Nazi, listen, they use a Nazi law. The Nazis so bad that they use their laws. You understand this? You see the war against you? You Aboriginal man? You Aboriginal Indigenous American? Do you see the war against you? You so-called Negro? You so-called African American? You so-called black man? This is the war against you. They want to control you from protecting yourself like a damn ape in a fucking zoo. They using their own so-called enemy, this fake enemy laws. Come on, man. Y'all see this shit. You better go buy your fucking firearm while they let you. You understand? And protect your fucking self. Because they're going to try to take everything from you any motherfucking way, sooner or later.
Both documents are based on racial fear.
And so they take this document and they use it to draft legislation to start requiring more licensing and more constriction of the right to keep and bear arms.
When I found out what the restrictions were, I was very surprised. Each town, each police chief has the discretion of whether to give a license or not. There is just not one set rule. It seems that a lot of black people, and especially young black men, are held to a higher standard. Maybe you have a drunk driving record, and that would be enough to disqualify you, where legally it's not. It's not a felony conviction. Whereas maybe somebody from the suburbs that's white and maybe from a more influential family would have the same exact record as you do, but would not be denied.
See what I'm saying? They use everything is racially based. You think you have rights. People always be like, oh, I have the right to do this. No, you don't. You don't have the right, because all their laws is made for them. It's not made for you. It's color-coded laws. These laws are color-coded. And all these people be drug addicts and all this shit and have fucked up records, and they're able to own firearms. But you too scared because they shoot people in the streets, shoot black men in the streets because they have a firearm. So now you scared to carry a fucking gun. You understand? It's all programmed. It's programming you to not want to even carry a gun. Because if you carry a gun, you get pulled over, you think the police gonna shoot you. And that's not fucking true. You understand? This shit is not, man, they all this shit is a fucking setup.
It's kind of subtle discrimination.
It seems unthinkable today that legislation is still being written to keep minorities in their place, but it is. Purchasing a firearm requires the applicant to fill out a federal form to verify their race. Restrictive gun laws, gun bans, warrantless searches of public housing, and the...
That's another reason why you shouldn't put black or African American on applications. It's because it's used to portray you in a certain way. You know what I mean? You know, I don't fill out forms saying I'm African American or I'm black no more. I put other, or I put, you know, American on there. So, you know, it's all on y'all.
Confiscation of firearms in major cities continue to deprive minorities of their right to protect and defend themselves.
Violence is increasing. The number of gun-related deaths is increasing yearly. So it should be rather obvious that the gun laws are not working because things are not getting better. They're making more and more laws and it's getting worse.
Gun control has not worked. The federal government's own Centers for Disease Control can't show conclusive evidence that reducing guns reduces violence. Yet, these facts are dismissed.
Now, this is 2003, you understand? And they still trying to force and trying to find some way to restrict people from having the right to bear arms, you understand? And they showing you that it don't make no difference. It probably will make you know, make everything better by everyone having firearms. You know, if a motherfucker be prepared to be getting fucked up if they run up on you and they know you got a firearm, they might not run up on you, you feel me?
Historically, more guns in the hands of decent, law-abiding citizens has had the opposite effect. In 1964, the desegregation of Jonesboro, Louisiana High School was threatened by local authorities with fire hoses. 4 armed black men arrived with loaded shotguns. Without firing a shot, the mob dispersed and the authorities retreated.
This is the power you have when you're able to protect your family. This is the power you have. You know what I mean? When a motherfucker run up on you, you got protection. They ain't gonna run up all the way. They gonna back the fuck up. You understand? This is why you should have a firearm to protect yourself, or a bow and arrow, or a knife, something. You understand? You know, the Caucasus people and the other people doing it. I watched a video. This dude had a fucking house full of knives and big ass special knives and shit and fucking bow and arrows and guns. And black folks walking around buying fucking jeans and tennis shoes, and these people buy guns and knives. They know what's up. They know that shit mean more. You know what I mean? Y'all better get it together, man.
The students entered the school without incident. Those men were members of the Deacons for Defense, an armed citizens militia founded in Jonesboro, Louisiana. The Deacons were everyday citizens who by 1965 had organized into more than 50 chapters throughout the South in self-defense from the Ku Klux Klan.
In 1964, down in Louisiana, there were all types of demonstrations going on by freedom riders. Many times, the demonstrations would be met by armed white resistance. People were dying and being shot and intimidated because they were unarmed. And basically, because they were unarmed, they were also being denied the right to vote.
The Deacons protected civil rights workers for CORE, the Congress of Racial Equality, who were registering voters in Louisiana and Mississippi. They patrolled black neighborhoods and protected black churches where CORE was holding voting rights seminars.
These were regular, everyday people. They were not some paramilitary group. The thing that made them different is they were veterans from the Korean War. They were veterans from World War II. And so they did have the training and they did have the discipline that came from being veterans.
this is what our veterans are gonna have to start teaching. They're gonna have to start teaching us how to protect ourselves. They so fucking brainwashed. A lot of them, like white women, they like laying up with the enemy's wives and daughters. You understand? While our people is being murdered and being programmed. You know what I mean? These military men, I don't know what's going on these days. Our people are so fucked up these days. You know what I mean? I don't get it. Everybody else is learning they training. They learn they training from these soldiers and these U.S. soldiers. They go over to Iran and all that shit and teach them people. Them motherfuckers use it against them. You know what I mean? That's why they're having such a hard time fighting them motherfuckers, because they done taught them well. But our people won't even come back home and show us how to do this shit. They too afraid what the white man gonna say about them doing it. I know it's clause in a contract saying they can't teach citizens how to survive. You understand? But you think the white man follow that rule? Hell fucking no, he don't. Man, our brothers need to understand. They need to start teaching their people, because the entire time is a bad time. Feel me? So much tension going on. You already know. All it takes is one little spark. It's over for all this shit. Feel me?
Once the Klansman and the white citizen consular and the deputy sheriff that was wearing the sheet at night learned that these deacons for defense would shoot back, then they were not as readily willing to go and pounce upon them in the wee hours of the morning.
Hey, and down here in Milwaukee, that's the same shit. When them brothers all got up and ran up on them popo, they didn't know what they had. See, they bagged the fuck up. They wasn't fucking with them. They called in the motherfucking the goddamn army to come in. Cause they knew them brothers don't play no games. That's what we gotta do all around the world. We gotta start standing the fuck up. Man, I salute them brothers, them young brothers, for doing that. You know what I mean? Even though it was a dangerous situation, but they stood up to them people, man. That's what we gotta do for our people. We gotta fucking stand up for them. Can't be just sitting around watching the shit. You understand? Them people, them police bagged the fuck up. They wasn't fucking with them brothers, them little young brothers. You know what I mean? Because they ain't know what they had. They don't know they got assault rifles or none of that shit. Because they ain't fought, they sovereign. Them niggas don't give a fuck about no laws. Feel me? Why you trying to be a law-abiding citizen they don't even give two shits about you? You just trying to get a fucking check? These people don't care about you, man. Get it together. You see them punk-ass motherfuckers with these sheets on. They were scared as hell when niggas start motherfucking pulling pistols out on they punk ass. They couldn't lynch nobody. You can't hang no nigga when he got a fucking gun in his motherfucking pocket. Straight up. Because he can shoot back at your ass.
Because now they knew that, well, the right to bear arms is providing constitutional rights for the...
And they send the army in. They send their army in. You know what I mean? When the motherfuckers couldn't just run up on you, they send a fucking punk ass government on your ass. When the Klan couldn't do it, they send a good fucking government. Everybody is against us, man. Feel me? So all you black police officers, you black motherfucking military man, it don't matter, man. You do the same thing. You going against your people. All this shit is programmed to go against you anyway. You know what I mean? You in the military, you protected, but what about your mama and your brother and your cousins and your grandparents? You know what I mean? You know, you in police department. What about your cousin when he driving in the car and some white cop that you don't fucking know pull him over? You understand? And fuck him up. Then what you gonna do? You still gonna be a part of this punk ass system, or you gonna utilize it to your best advantage?
These blacks, irrespective of the fact that we want to take away their civil rights, they're fighting on solid ground.
The effectiveness of the deacons in deterring violence was so great that Dr. Martin Luther King and Floyd McKissick of CORE hired the deacons to protect the marchers from Klan aggression in the 1966 March Against Fear.
The very effect of armed resistance in the name of civil rights is what really casts a new enthusiasm into the civil rights movement at a critical time. When the right to bear arms is put in the proper perspective historically, then people will see that the African American community having guns to protect themselves, not from crooked cops and police brutality, but from the culture of drugs and gangs, because...
See, I disagree with him on that one. You hear what he said? Not against crooked cops or police brutality. I feel like them is just as criminal. You know, they criminals too. If you're gonna be crooked and you're not following by the laws, then you just as fucking bad as I am. If I'm an unlawful citizen in their eyes, you know what I mean? So I disagree with him on that one, but you know, it is what it is.
Of a war going on due to the narco economy. And so until we address why are these people armed, why are they shooting, we're not going to be able to create an oasis of redevelopment in the inner cities of America.
Inner city violence is directly related to the black market for illegal drugs, gangs, and drug dealers' turf wars. Today's war on drugs, like alcohol prohibition in the 1920s, share many similarities. Back then, gangsters and bootleggers took to the streets to protect their territories. Homicide rates skyrocketed at the beginning of Prohibition, then took a huge drop after its repeal. Homicide rates again spiked in the early 1970s when President...
We gotta understand why they made them, why it spiked right around 1970, right 1960. That's when black people start uprising against this system. You understand? Guess what they did? They brought all their drugs in, and then they did Nixon start a fucking war on drugs. You feel me? It's all set up by the government. And it's white supremacist system. You can see it. It's showing you right here. Prohibition, it went down, and then all of a sudden now all the crimes start going up in 1970 and 75 and all that shit. Yeah, that's when black people start uprising and start getting their shit together, and then all of a sudden these motherfuckers want to start putting drugs in our neighborhoods and then make us fight against each other over fucking little paper and shit and drugs. It's stupid shit, you know what I mean?
Nixon declared America's war on drugs. More than 35 years later, homicide rates in America's inner cities fluctuate but continue to peak.
We've got to stop the demonization of guns. We've got to encourage law-abiding citizens to arm themselves. And then we have to circulate that information throughout the high crime areas.
Government-published facts speak volumes on the effectiveness of armed citizens. According to the U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics, 57% of polled felons agree criminals are more worried about meeting an armed victim than they are about running into the police. And, according to the U.S. Department of Justice, the probability of serious injury to women during an attack is 2.5 times greater when they are unarmed.
If women were able to freely carry firearms, there would be less chance of somebody looking at them as a victim. There would be less crime committed against women because a criminal would have to question, is this woman armed?
And, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, 550 rapes and 1,100 murders are prevented every day just by showing a gun.
We got to tell the other side of the story about the hundreds of thousands of times in America where guns are used to stop violence and to stop a crime from being committed.
The police aren't there to protect us. They are there to enforce laws and to arrest criminals once they are criminals, once they have committed a crime. But they're not our personal bodyguards, so I have to do that for myself. No matter how many gun control laws they put into effect, no matter how much they try to restrict it, even if they make it illegal for anybody to own guns, There's going to be a black market.
The community does not get safer when the criminals are told there's no guns available on the part of law-abiding citizens.
People are going to have access to firearms, and the ones that are going to have them are going to be the criminals.
That's like an open season for crime.
It's just like drugs are illegal, and it's a booming business.
History has a habit of repeating itself. Now,
y'all hear that too? Just saying. I'm just speaking on certain things. You know what I mean? Just pay attention to it, and watch the people that they show on the screen when they say that stuff. All right. So look at this.
as it was back then, politicians and community leaders wrongly claim less guns means less violence. Now, as it was back then, politicians and community leaders wrongly misguide the public in believing that the police and not the community can best provide protection, even though the Supreme Court has publicly stated that state and local governments do not have an obligation to protect citizens from criminal harm.
You see that, right? Some bullshit. The Constitution does not impose a duty on the state and local government to protect the citizens from criminal harm. What kind of fucking law is that? History repeats itself. Now watch what they show, who they show. Alright?
Guns are a convenient target that disingenuous civil rights leaders.
Who was that right there? Feel me? All these same people, man, they showing you the government officials that trying to get you to disarm yourself. You feel me?
And politicians hide behind because they don't want to address the real problem, which is why are all the black youth dropping out of high school and getting guns.
Gun control advocate Sarah Brady, wife of James Brady, whose name is on the 1993 Brady Bill Violence Protection Act, purchased her own son a high-powered rifle.
I think they're misguided, and I think it's a hot issue.
We can always get a bunch of politicians. Well, here's the mayor, here's the alderman, here's the state rep, here's the state, well, here's the president of the Senate. They'll always come out to a press conference where they can put on a shirt and a tie and insinuate that they're there to protect the children. It resonates with voters. It's something that's unquestionable in terms of its merit, and it's something that's patently wrong in terms of the gun control issue, because gun control does not protect the children.
Fact is, a child up to the age of 14 is 4 times more likely to drown, 4 times more likely to die in a fire, and 13 times more likely to die in an auto collision than from a firearm accident.
And that's a message that has to be driven home. What we've got to do is create a solidarity for gun owners that are across the political spectrum, across the racial spectrum. I think that it's high time that blacks, whites, all Americans of goodwill realize that the sacred right to self-defense is at risk in America during the next 4 years in an Obama.
Look at that. Same old little ugly motherfuckers, man. Watch who all they show. They show you who all against you, you black man, or you so-called black man, you so-called Negro. You know what I mean? You Aboriginal, Indigenous American. You understand? They show you who's against you. Just pay attention to this shit, man.
Administration with Eric Holder going in as Attorney General. Why? Not because they're bad people, but because their philosophy is such that drying up the availability of guns will create greater safety. So I think that what we're looking for is not to be found with gun control, but can only be found when citizens take it upon themselves to protect themselves and their property.
For too long, community leaders, ministers.
There you go. They showing the people, right? They just showed my damn chief. You know what I mean? They don't care about nothing. They trying to strip their guns from the black community, not the white community, from the black community, the so-called black community. You feel me? They trying to take our shit, not nobody else shit. Y'all seen them laws? The law says strictly to strip black people from carrying firearms. Understand?
And politicians have failed to reject the gun control lies. For too long, African Americans have lost control of our neighborhoods. For too long, African Americans have been denied the right to keep and bear arms. For too long, African Americans have been victims of criminals, drug dealers, and dangerous gun control policy. For too long, African Americans have been on the wrong side of the gun.
We have to remain vigilant. We have to challenge the Congress when they try to bring about these new gun control laws.
No, brother, we need to get away from these motherfuckers. That's what we need to do, brother. You understand? Because they never going to get, once they pass some law, they're going to take something from you. They never going to let us get a gain. Nowhere. Nowhere in their system. They classify us as being inferior people, being savages, being all these things. You think they're going to give us something? Hell no. I don't give a fuck if you is a law-abiding citizen. You a Negro just like me in their eyes. You understand?
And we have to educate the African American community and other communities in America the racist roots of what gun control is really all about.
Yeah, my people. Basically, I was just showing y'all this video because, you know, I was asking my dad. My dad, he really not big on firearms and everything. I'm like, dude, you have to have some kind of protection, Dad. You can't just be thinking everything is all good, man. And what it basically was based on, his theology is based on just not being afraid to carry a firearm because he don't know how. He come from the era where a white man was pretty much putting them in control. They was keeping them in control. They couldn't have weapons. They had a weapon, they'd go to jail. You know, that fear of going to jail because you want to protect yourself. You know what I mean? We have to get rid of that fear, you know. And if you're a felon and they tell you, oh, you can't have no firearm, you know, and if somebody's threatening your life, you telling me you don't want to protect yourself still? I'm not saying go around walking around with a firearm trying to kill people or nothing like that. I'm saying you always got to protect yourself naturally. It's a natural instinct to protect yourself. You understand? Don't nobody have dominion over you protecting yourself. Feel me? Because when this system falls, then what you going to say then when you don't have nothing to protect yourself? Oh, they didn't allow me to have a weapon to protect myself. You know, it's just, you know, it's all shit double standard. They able to do these things, but you can't do it. Everything they can do, you can't do it. You know? But yeah, this video is just based on, you know, just some theology about, you know, you know, especially teaching the children the way to protect themselves. Not to just go around shooting people, not to get in arguments, but the right way, and use it for self-defense for a serious matter, a life or death situation, not because somebody stepped on your fucking tennis shoes. We don't train our children on the real way to do it because you so fucking scared to have one your damn self. You know what I mean? And you don't live in your children's shoes, so you don't know what they go through. You know what I mean? You don't know who's bullying them and none of that stuff. Half of the time, people don't know what's going on in these streets. You too busy working a job, and you know what I mean, and you not knowing that your children's life in danger every day because some crazy kids or some crazy people is threatening his life. And when he go get a firearm and protect himself, you never knew about the whole situation. You know what I mean? And if you would have taught him the right way how to control it or how to do it, you could have been able to help in some way. Now your child is in prison doing some time because you didn't take the time out to teach them anything. You know what I mean? Because you too afraid your damn self. But yeah, you know me, I'm all about protecting my people, no matter what. You feel what I'm saying? So all my topics is going to be based on things like this, based on nutrition, based on you know, kind of a militant, but at the same time spiritual commentary. You understand? So, you know, for all my people, man, I don't want y'all to feel threatened by the things that I provide in videos. All these things is about us being stronger as a people. You understand? That's all it's about, you know. It's not to be, you know, pointing out that you need to carry a gun around and be scared all the time. No, I'm just saying, our people die for these things. You understand? For the little shit that they do give us, they die for it. Why you not trying to, you know, live by what they die for? You know what I mean? They die for this land. They die for keeping their land. We failed them at that. You know? They die for all kind of things. The right to ride the bus. And this goes out all to you, all you young people. You know, y'all think everything is so peachy and cream. All you got your video games and, you know, all this little, you know, Pepsi Cola and all that bullshit. You know, and Taco Bell and shit. And all your little designer jeans and shit. But you gotta understand, you gotta know your history. History means a lot. Because like they said in this video, history repeats itself. If you don't want to go through that stuff, then you got to learn your history so you won't have the same issue going on as a whole. Because it's going to take all of us to be on the same page, not just a sprinklet of people, because we're going to go down in mass numbers if we're not on the same page. We already argue about Google. I've been around people that get in an argument about something that you can just Google. You understand? And, you know, and they start fighting over bullshit. It's like we fight over the littlest things, but, you know, our lives is more valuable than all this bullshit. We need to understand that and how more powerful we are. But yeah, man, that's about it for my commentary for this video. You know what I mean? I just want all y'all to know that I really love y'all, man, genuinely. Just, you know, we have to learn how to start doing the things that was presented to us and understanding these little bitty laws that they make up. And some of this shit don't mean shit to us. We gotta stop falling for anything. You know what I mean? You know. But yeah, man. Like I said, I genuinely love you guys, man. And I'm gonna keep on putting videos like this out here and keep on getting commentary on how we should be more powerful than we are. We look weak as a people, man. We look so weak. We don't have no substance. Don't nobody. You train your kids to go to school to work for someone else. You don't train your kids to be able to be merchants, to sell things. You train your kids to be buyers, not sellers. You understand? And owners. You know? If you want to be a part of the system, at least teach your child how to own something in this shit. You know what I mean? You train your kid to go to school and fucking go to college and get a big ass debt to work for someone else. Teach your kids now. If you have any little ones, teach them to be merchants, to be sellers, not buyers. You know what I mean? Guns and butter. You understand? Guns and butter. It's a difference, man. You feel me? And you know, I'm just, you know, just ratting off at the mouth, but basically, I just want y'all to know that, you know, don't feel some type of way about my commentary, my videos, because they're really direct. But somebody got to do it, man. all my other brothers is bringing out other knowledge. I mean, I can just talk about some other things because I'm not as advanced as they are when it comes to breaking certain things down. So I make videos that I know that can be helpful in some way with all this stuff coming together. You understand? You know, so take it as it is, man. Peace out. Love you guys. You know, till next time.